Well, good afternoon, and welcome everyone. If you could all stand, and I could ask Lori Lang to lead us in the invocation, please.
Good afternoon. Today we give thanks for the opportunity to care for our community. We are ever mindful of this great responsibility to healing and to hope to those and give hope to those we serve. We ask that our efforts be guided by wisdom, compassion, and understanding. We join the hospital board in seeking this insight to make decisions that will lead to a better and healthier community. May all that is done here today be for the good of those who have placed their trust in the Sarasota Memorial Healthcare System's leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you. And I call this meeting of August 2019 to order. And before we get started, let me read the statement regarding public comment. Any citizen desiring to address the hospital board should turn the speaker card to the board secretary, who's sitting over here. If the citizen comment pertains to an item on the agenda today, the comment will be heard early in this meeting. Otherwise, it will be heard towards the end. Speakers are asked to limit their comments to 5 minutes. Vendors, suppliers, or other persons seeking hospital contracts awarded on a competitive basis are reminded that their ability to address the board may be restricted by the terms of the invitation to bid, request for proposals, or other purchasing criteria. Lastly, the board has established a claims adjustment review panel comprised of representatives of the board, the medical staff, administration, and legal counsel to review and negotiate the settlement of claims. Accordingly, the board will not entertain comments on or discuss or negotiate claims at this meeting. Thank you. All right, I will ask for a motion approving the orders of the day.
So moved.
Second.
Any, okay, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Next, I ask for a motion approving the minutes of the July 15th, 2019 meeting.
Motion? Second.
All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Approve it. Okay, thank you. Right, we don't have any board reports, so with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Seaman for some introductions.
It's a pleasure to welcome new residents to our healthcare center, and doing so will be the residency directors, Dr. Weiss-Romich and Dr. O'Keefe. Dr. Romich, you're up first.
So, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, it's really a privilege to be able to introduce you to our third class of internal medicine residents. Our program is now at full maturity. It seems like yesterday when we were first here asking for your support, and it's now 3 years later. So I'm going to first mention 3 that are not here today because either they're on patient care duties or post-call. So first I will start with Dr. Julaine Braham. Dr. Braham is born in Jamaica, grew up in Miami, went to Oakwood University, and I got a degree in biology, and then went to the American University of Antigua. Most of her family is in the Miami region as well. And she also had a lot of work with vulnerable populations, underserved population. Next, we have Dr. Busari. Dr. Kafayat Busari attended Texas Tech University. She was born and raised in Houston. And among the other things that she has done, which are extensive, is she volunteered with the refugee population in Houston. And Dr. Lisette Rodriguez from the Dominican Republic went to Instituto Tecnológico de Santo Domingo and also has a lot of relatives in the Miami area as well. She also taught children in elementary school and was a founding member of the American Medical Student Association in her medical school. Now I'm going to introduce Dr. Cristina Acosta.
Good afternoon. My name is Cristina Costa. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I went to Guadalajara, Universidad Autónoma of Guadalajara School of Medicine, and most of my...
Impressive vita, Christina.
Pardon?
Thank you. Impressive vita. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry. So most of my relatives are here living in Florida, so I'm very happy and grateful to be part of the SMH family. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Rainice Jeffrey, born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. I attended Ross University School of Medicine. My significant other is a third-year resident here, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hello, I'm Zach Kirkland. I'm originally from Knoxville, Tennessee. Went to University of Tennessee for undergrad and then Lincoln Memorial University for medical school. And my wife is actually one of the ER residents, so we were very fortunate that right in the nick of time you guys opened the ER residency for us. So we're able to couples match here. We're really happy to be here. And we have family in Tampa, so we're really happy to be by family. So
Great, welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Natalia Latancio. I was born in Colombia but grew up in Western Florida. I attended St. George's University Medical School, and I'm really excited to be part of this residency. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hello, everybody. My name is Derek Pierce. I'm originally from a small town in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I went to Michigan Technological University for my undergraduate studies, and then at Central Michigan University is where I graduated with my MD. I have some family connections to Florida. My parents live about half the year in Fort Myers area, and my wife's aunt is actually a nurse here in the ED. So very happy to be here as well.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Elia Rodriguez. I grew up in Miami, went to Florida International University for undergrad, and had the privilege to go to Florida State University for medical school. I was a student at this campus and fell in love with the program and the hospital, and I'm very glad to have the opportunity to be part of the residency program now. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is John Rakowski. I am local here to Sarasota County. I graduated high school from Northport High. I went to University of Central Florida for undergrad. I went to medical school at Ross University in Dominica, and I am very happy and fortunate to be able to return to Sarasota for this residency.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Hi everyone, my name is Yeshana Otakle. Originally from Ethiopia, moved here to Florida end of 2003. Went to IRCC in Fort Pierce, Florida. Went to medical school at Ross University. Met my wife from Florida, family in Fort Pierce, Miami, and Tampa. I'm very glad to be here, and thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ricardo Villasmil. I'm originally from Venezuela, but I was pretty much raised in Miami, Florida, my entire life. I went to Florida International University for undergrad, went to American University of the Caribbean for medical school. My wife is also a nurse at this hospital, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Good. Glad to have you.
Hi, my name is Mindy Ward. I grew up in Southwest Missouri, and I went to Missouri State University in Springfield, Missouri. I went to Kansas City University for medical school, and now my 3 children live down here, and my mom and dad as well. So I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
And next, we're presenting our chief residents.
I'm Dr. Rasheen Handa. I moved here from Michigan, Ann Arbor, where I completed my residency in internal medicine. I grew up in New Delhi, India, where I went to med school at University of Delhi. I'm really excited to be here. I'm interested in teaching, cardiology, patient safety, so really excited. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
India.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Anthony Wojtkowski. I'm the ambulatory chief resident at the Newtown Clinic. I was born and raised in Tucson, Arizona. After a brief stint in Minnesota for undergrad, I went to medical school in Warsaw, Poland. I ended up working there for a few years before coming back to the United States. I completed my residency in Chicago, Illinois at St. Joseph Hospital, and now I'm a chief resident here.
Glad to have you. Welcome.
Thanks.
Okay, I'm Dr. Kelly O'Keefe, Program Director for Emergency Medicine. It's nice to see everyone again, and I thank you very much for all the support that we have received for our program. Our program is, of course, a little smaller, and the residents are actively involved in patient care duties in the intensive care units on the trauma service and in the emergency department right now. So I only have one representative to show you. And I did not tell Tom that he would have to speak, so I wanted to see how he would perform under pressure.
There you go.
Good afternoon. My name is Thomas Cox, graduate of the University of South Florida, Morsani College of Medicine. I am thankful and happy to be here. It's such a wonderful hospital under such great direction of Dr. O'Keefe. And to be part of such a gifted residency class. So, thank you.
Thanks. Welcome.
Thank you, Tom. There will be extra money in your paycheck. All right, so I'll introduce the rest of our residents. Courtney Kirkland, who's aiding the internal medicine residency as well. Her hometown is Gainesville. She went to the University of Central Florida for undergraduate and Lincoln Memorial University, the Bus College of Osteopathic Medicine. Joshua Lehman comes from Mesa, Arizona. He attended Northeastern State University for college and the University of Oklahoma College of Medicine. Josh has a fair amount of clinical experience working in emergency departments as a nurse prior to his medical school training. Daryl Ray is also from Mesa, Arizona. I don't think they knew each other. Undergraduate at Arizona State University, and then the A.T. Still University School of Osteopathic Medicine. Kevin Raymond is from Miami, Florida. He attended Clemson for his undergraduate, and then the Liberty University College of Osteopathic Medicine. Kevin's a well-awarded military veteran with service as a ranger and as an airborne rifle platoon leader. So I suggest that no one mess with him. Mary Roberts is from Alexandria, Virginia. She attended the University of California at Berkeley, where she played Division I lacrosse and was her team captain. She attended the Liberty University College of Osteopathic Medicine with Kevin. We're lucky to get both of them here. Alexander Sterling is from Philadelphia. He attended the University of Central Florida, and then locally the Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine. Jeffrey Wade hails from Texas. He attended the Dallas County Community College University, and then St. George's in the Caribbean. Jeff also worked for many years as a registered nurse in emergency departments before coming here, so again comes with a fairly extensive clinical experience. And finally, Melanie Worley is from Columbus, Ohio. She went to Wake Forest University for college, and then the Ohio University Heritage College of Osteopathic Medicine. And Melanie is a serious runner and has completed the Boston Marathon.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you again for your support with the residency.
Thank you. And congratulations to all of you. Appreciate you. Welcome to Sarasota. Well, David, I hope you can follow that introduction. But
I'm
I
David
understand.
Barrender. I'm from Baton Rouge.
There you go. And you used to live in Miami, and I know
No, never was in Miami.
There
Lived
you
in
go.
Tampa for a while in Austin. No.
There you go. I understand you have a couple of awards for you to give out today.
I do. I'd like to invite Kathy Quiros up first as our Excel Award winner for August. Kathy, come on. Let's get about it. Make me look good here. All right. So Kathy is our August Excel Award winner. She's a patient intake coordinator and has worked at Sarasota Memorial since 2015. Kathy's coworkers agree that she's a dependable and valuable asset to the logistics center. Because our logistics center is a busy place, they're especially grateful for Kathy's meticulous attention to detail and ability to prioritize multiple urgent requests seamlessly. In addition to her multitasking skills, Kathy's coworkers also appreciate her positive attitude. She can turn a negative into a positive no matter what the situation, one of her coworkers says. Another comments, Kathy's friendly and lighthearted nature helps make our busy office more peaceful environment. Everyone in Kathy's office recognizes how her team spirit lifts their morale. Kathy sets the standard for working hard with an upbeat and caring character. They say she is a role model for new employees and a deserving Excel Award winner. Kathy, thank you so much for everything you do.
The Excel Award. Excel recipients are employees who are models of excellence and consistently demonstrate the mission, vision, and values of our organization. They are superior performers that make an extra effort in the quality and care of our patients and families in the community. The Hospital Board and administrative staff of Sarasota Memorial Healthcare System recognizes you, Kathy, with the Excel Award for the month of August 2019. Thank you for your continued dedication to excellence, and it's signed by David Verner, President and CEO, and Joe DiVirgilio, Chair of the Board.
Thank you very much. It's just amazing to me to be a part of an organization that sets the bar so extraordinarily high. And this, I've reflected on this since you guys surprised me with it recently, and I'm just astounded by this, especially in this environment. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much.
I understand you have a Hero Award.
I do. As we do ever so often, we have someone rises above and creates and responds to a hero situation. And we have someone today, Hannah Donaldson. Hannah, can you join me? So Hannah Donaldson, an RN on our Cardiac Progressive 4, was on a plane to Los Angeles on July 14th when a flight attendant asked if there was a nurse aboard. They needed assistance with another passenger, a 40-year-old man who appeared to have lost consciousness multiple times. When Hannah volunteered to assess him, she found the man's heart rate and blood pressure were dangerously low. While in flight, Hannah was able to start an IV and administer fluids while communicating with a physician on ground. Another nurse and an OB/GYN who were also on board helped keep the man conscious for the next hour or so. The plane made an emergency landing in New Mexico, and they were met by EMS at the gate. It's no doubt that Hannah's actions and composure under pressure helped her get this man where he needed to be and quite possibly saved his life. On the side note, former MFL star Terrell Owens was also on the flight and gave Hannah a well-deserved social media call-out. Did we figure out how many people liked that or followed him? It looked it up. It was a lot, and so she became an instant internet star that day. So congratulations.
Hero Hall of Fame. The Hospital Board and Administrative Staff of Sarasota Memorial Healthcare System hereby induct you, Hannah, to the Team SMH Hero Hall of Fame for actions that capture the essence of a true hero, including courage to have persistency in the face of fear, passion to always do the right thing, integrity to have a strong moral compass, and concern to have concern for the well-being of others. This is signed by David Verner, President, CEO, and Joe DiVirgilio, the Chair of the Board. Hannah, congratulations.
Hi, everyone. I'm very honored to be receiving this award. I truly believe this hospital helps prepare their nurses to react quickly in emergency situations. I know many of my coworkers would have done the same thing, so I'm just honored and grateful to be here, and thank you.
Well done.
And for the record, 27,114 people in the world honored Hannah as well.
Well, Dr. Seaman, can you top that?
No, I can't. I have no report.
You have no report.
Other than saying that.
Smart play.
There you go, there you go.
No.
Well, with that, I'll turn it over to Mike over to Mason Ayers with the foundation report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't think my report can top that either, but just wanted the board to know that we are off and running with our planning for our events for next year. We kick off our event schedule January 11th with our third annual hospital gala, which is going to benefit the SMH cancer services. And then our second event for the year will be held in March 27th at Michael's on East. It'll be our Women in Medicine Educational Luncheon. And the beneficiary is going to be the SMH Orthopedics and Rehabilitative Services. And then finally, our last event will be held in May. It's our golf tournament, Laurel Oak Country Club, May 1st. And the beneficiary for that event will be our Physician Endowment Fund, which helps provide ongoing continuing education and opportunities for the staff at SMH. And just recently, earlier this month, we sent out a sponsorship guide. I hope all of you guys received this in the mail. But this maps out all the ways to support the hospital. And I look forward to seeing you all at our events. That concludes my report.
Oh, great. Thank you, Mason. And I wish you the best of luck for next year.
Yes.
You set a heck of a lofty goal last year, and it's going to be tough to top it, but I know you guys are up to the task.
Say my prayers every night.
Okay, Secretary's report, Greg Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The calendar for September, on Tuesday, September 3rd at 5:01 p.m., we'll have our preliminary budget and millage hearing. Then next, on Monday, September 16th, we will start at 10 instead of 9 because of the final budget and millage hearing later on that day. Start at 10 with our investment committee. 11 to noon will be audit committee. Noon to 12:30, we'll have our closed hospital board meeting. Then the 12:30 to 2, we'll do our board lunch and do the financial review. At 2 to 3:30, we'll have the SMH Physician Services, Inc. annual meeting. And from 3:30 to 4:30 will be the board meeting. Then at 5:01 p.m., we'll do our final budget and millage hearing. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Greg. Next up, the Treasurer's report. Sharon Witzel DePeters, please.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to propose a motion. I move approval of the bad debts and charity care for the month ended July 31st, 2019, in the amount of $29,876,000.
Do we have a second? Second. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed, no? Alrighty, thank you.
That concludes my report,
All right,
Mr.
thank you,
Chairman.
Sharon. Bill Wojcik, CFO, our financial highlights.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. The financial highlights for July, and with July being the 10th month of our fiscal year, the fiscal year-to-date numbers represent 10 months of activity. Starting with system operating revenue, actual for July, $77,611,000, compared to a budget of $70,849,000. Fiscal year-to-date operating revenue for the system, $817,930,000, compared to a budget of $743,129,000. For the system's total expenses for the month of July, $72,780,000, compared to a budget of $71,371,000. And through 10 months this fiscal year, total expenses of $745,482,000, compared to the budget of $727,364,000. Systems operating income in the rating agency format for July, $9,010,000, and that's generating an operating margin of 10.9%, compared to a budget of $3.4 million, operating margin budgeted at 4.5%. Through 10 months of activity, operating income of $112,904,000, and that's a operating margin of 13%, compared to the budget of $55,020,000, and we budgeted a 7% operating margin through 10 months. Moving to some statistics, these are year-to-date figures through fiscal year, through the 10 months ending July. For the hospital's average daily occupancy, 584 patients per day, compared to a budget of 554. The average acute length of stay so far this fiscal year, 4.31. Last year was 4.46. Admissions, so far this fiscal year, we've had 36,088, compared to a budget of 31,391. The hospital's surgery cases totaled to 20,854, compared to a budget of 20,318. And so far through 10 months, we've had 3,258 births, compared to a budget of 2,943. Our outpatient registrations through 10 months, 389,891, compared to a budget of 396,877. And our 2 emergency care centers, the registrations totaled to 105,773, compared to the budget of 104,354. Our case mix index for the hospital through 10 months, for all patients, 1.81, and for Medicare patients, 1.90. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Any questions for Bill? Thank you, Bill. All right, let's move on to the committee reports. First up is the Mission Planning Committee. Greg Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On August 19th, today, Chief Operating Officer Lori Lang and Executive Director of Behavioral Health, Terry Cassidy, provided the committee with an update on Bayside Center for Behavioral Health. Lori delivered welcoming remarks and gave an overview of the Sarasota Memorial Healthcare System's strategic roadmap. Terry then shared Bayside's vision, scope, and the services currently offered, and compared to the comprehensive continuum that makes up behavioral health care. The programming, site planning, and preliminary schematics to accomplish this will take place within the coming months to fully define the scope of Bayside Behavioral Health Center. For the second presentation, Lori Zlatko-Jancic, Executive Director of Hospitality and Guest Services, and Josh Kapanos, Director of Food and Nutrition, presented on the kitchen renovation. Following Lori's introduction regarding the system's growth, Zlatko discussed the current state of food and nutrition, including the operational impact. He explained that the current kitchen has not seen any major renovations since its original design and construction. He closed by describing the additional demands of the kitchen, such as the doctor's lounge and the grab-and-go items. Josh then continued the presentation by explaining the different types of inpatient meal delivery methods. He then gave the vision for food and nutrition services at SMH. The team proposed using a more modern food delivery approach designed to improve patient experience. He ended the presentation by discussing the kitchen expansion plan and the financial implications. The kitchen renovation will follow a phased approach and is slated to be completed by June of 2021. Following the presentation, the committee recommended approval. Therefore, I move approval of the funding for the renovation of the kitchen in an amount not to exceed $6,250,000, currently budgeted for $2 million in fiscal year 2020 and $4,250,000 in fiscal year 2021, as recommended by the Mission and Planning Committee.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed, no. Thank you. Anything further, Greg?
Yes, we had one more presentation, and the final presentation to the committee was on continuing service agreements. Carol Ann Kalish, our Chief Legal Officer, shared the purpose and benefits of a continuing service agreement and the statutory parameters for them. And then next, John Salt, Director of Facilities Management, walked through the rankings for the architectural firms, engineering firms, and construction manager at risk. Following the presentation, the committee recommended approval. Therefore, I move approval of the ranking of the following entities for continuing services contracts for an initial term not to exceed 3 years for services on SMH projects and construction costs less than $2 million, as recommended by the Public Selection Committee and the Mission and Planning Committee. For architectural services, LDC International, Goodwin Mills Kaywood, and Gresham Smith and Partners were the three. For engineering services, Smith's Seckham Reed, TLC Engineering Solutions Incorporated, and Affiliated Engineers Incorporated. And finally, for construction and management services, J2 Solutions, DeAngelis Diamond, and Coastal Property Group.
Do we have a second for that motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed, no. All righty, Greg.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, thank you. All right, next up, we have the Finance Committee report. Jim Meister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The minutes of the July 15, 2019 meeting of the Combined Audit and Finance Committees were approved. Bill Volgen, our Chief Financial Officer, presented proposals for the fiscal year 2020 operating and capital budgets. The proposed fiscal 2020 operating budget has an operating margin of 6.5% and an ad valorem millage rate of 1.0420 mils. The proposed fiscal 2020 capital budget totals $295,436,000, inclusive of the funds to be spent on the Cancer Institute, the SMH Venice Hospital, routine capital items, and other strategic and growth projects. Following the presentation, the committee recommended approval, and therefore, I move approval of the recommendation of the Finance Committee to approve the fiscal 2020 budget, which sets the fiscal year 2020 preliminary millage rate at 1.0420, which is the same as the current millage rate. I also move affirmation that the board has set the first public hearing to adopt the proposed budget and millage rate at for September 3rd, 2019 at 5:01 p.m. and the second public hearing to adopt the budget and the millage rate for September 16th, 2019 at 5:01 p.m. Both hearings to be held in the board auditorium on the Waldameer Medical Plaza.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed, no.
Thank you. Susan Grimwood, Director of Logistics, presented a proposal to purchase 663 new Stryker Isoflex mattresses for all beds housewide at a cost of $1,923,000. These mattresses provide better patient comfort and will greatly reduce the need for rental specialty beds, thereby saving expenses and greatly reducing the time spent switching patient beds. Following the presentation, the committee recommended approval, and therefore I move approval of the funding of the purchase of Isoflex mattresses in an amount not to exceed $1,923,000 as included in the capital budget in the amount of $547,000 for year 2019 and $1,376,000 in fiscal year 2020 as recommended by the Finance Committee.
Have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed, no.
And lastly, Mr. Chairman, David Patterson, our Associate Chief Nursing Officer, presented a proposal for the surgical renewal project, which will renovate 5 operating rooms. The renovation includes the installation of clean suite, air exchange ceiling technology will be used, and stainless steel modular room systems will also be used. Following the presentation, the committee recommended approval, and therefore I move approval of the funding for the construction and purchase of new equipment to renovate operating rooms 1, 7, 14, 15, and 16 for a total project cost not to exceed $6,966,000 as budgeted for the fiscal year 2020 as recommended by the Finance Committee.
Darrell, did I hear a second?
I second as moved.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying yes. Yes. Opposed, no. Okay.
This concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Jim, appreciate it.
Welcome.
All right, next up, we have the President's report. David, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to start today, as we is our tradition, is looking at our organizational report card. We're looking at fiscal year to date through July 2019. We start in the first category of service, where we have our system patient experience, likelihood of recommending, and our goal is to have our number of services greater than or equal to 75th percentile. Our goal is to have 8 of those at greater than or equal to 75th percentile. Happy to report that we are hitting 9 out of 10 of those. So I'll show you the details here in just a minute. In the people sector, we have our turnover of part-time and full-time employees that have been hired within the past year to be less than 24% turnover. I'm happy to report we are hitting, we're also exceeding that at 21.91%. So really thank our team for coming together, making a difference on that goal. In quality, we have a goal of having our infection prevention, our combined overall standardized infection rate being at less than 0.93. Happy to report we're still hitting really some of the best in the country results at 0.67. Just to remind the board, the national average or the expected number is 1.0, so we set that goal pretty low in the first place. So congratulations to all of our caregivers on that. Finance, as you already saw, our CFO, Bill Wojcik, presented finances. Our organizational goal is to have our operating margin at 6.5% or greater. We're expected to exceed that and hit 11.7% for the year. And in growth, we have 2 goals. Our first is our inpatient admissions and observation cases at 46,070. I'm happy to report we're trending to hit higher than that at 50,505. And our outpatient registrations goal is 894,882. And we're projected to exceed that at 904,000. So I think pretty well balanced scorecard this month. When we look at our patient experience at the likelihood of recommending, you see the left-hand side, which has the various departments that we measure on that. The next column over is our fiscal year-to-date score. The next column from that is the national median score, and then finally, the far right is the 75th percentile score. So we are hitting 9 out of 10 of those. So the one that is just a little bit under the 75th percentile is our emergency room in the main ER. It is over the 50th percentile, but coming in just a little bit lower, the 75th. So I really think when you consider everything that's going on here in the construction and the sheer volume of patients that we have, it's really remarkable scores. And I'll thank the staff for making that happen.
Outstanding effort.
Also happy to report that Sarasota Memorial made the list of 57 standout hospitals in U.S. News and World Report, which we were spotlighted as a standout hospitals with strong ratings in all 9 procedures and conditions it evaluated in this year's Best Hospital Study. And you can see the list of the 9 conditions below. So really pretty small group of hospitals around the country can say that. We recently, SMH joined Congressman Buchanan for a media briefing on red tide research. So last month, U.S. Representative Vern Buchanan participated in a news conference at SMH to discuss funding of research into the effects of red tide exposure on the human health. Joining Representative Buchanan was Dr. Kirk Volker, a pulmonologist who serves as medical director for clinical research programs at Sarasota Memorial. And also joining him were Michael Crosby, president and CEO of Moat Moraine Lab and a leader of the Red Tide Response Effort, and Mike Mullen, director of Ross Camp Institute, which recently launched a Red Tide Health Study. So we thank everyone for participating that day. And I know several of our board came out for that, and appreciate you being there as well. We have selected a chief nursing officer for our Sarasota Memorial Venice campus, as construction of the new Sarasota Memorial Hospital Venice moves full speed ahead, efforts are underway to assemble a leadership team to ensure the facility provides the highest level of care when it opens in fall of 2021. SMH Venice President Sharon Roush recently announced that Jean Lucas, who has a whole lot of names behind her, as you can see there. I know she's sitting here. I was going to get her to stand. Come on, Jean, stand up and just say hi.
I literally ran here. I had jury duty this morning. I was doing my civic duties, and so anyway, I was released, and so I'm grateful to be here. I just want to say that thank you for the opportunity. It's going to be a wonderful project. Sharon's been wonderful to work with. It's a right thing to do for our community, and I'm really excited and grateful. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to have you in my neighborhood.
Keep reminding me. The pressure's on.
We're all glad to have her. I'm not going to read everything about her, but I will tell you, Jean did. If Jean wasn't here, we may not have a trauma program here. She stepped in and really led the team putting that trauma program together, making sure we had everything working right, and so we couldn't. She'll be a very big miss on day to day here, but Venice is getting an incredibly gifted person. So, thank you. So, with that said, we're building SMH Venice, and we have some bird's eye videos. Our community members are invited to follow the progress of our new Sarasota Memorial Hospital Venice by visiting our website. Each month, we post updates and aerial footage of the construction site, so you can follow along as we build a better health care future from the ground up. And I know Ms. Wetzer-Peters actually showed me pictures on her phone, so Sharon, we are taking them on the air too, so feel free to take a look out there. So we're all very excited about that. Our Cancer Center is also taking major steps forward. Our construction crews recently finished pouring 5.2 million pounds of concrete to create specialized vaults that will house 2 state-of-the-art linear accelerators at Sarasota Memorial Cancer Center's Institute's new radiation oncology center, currently under construction on our university campus, Parkway campus. And once again, I would invite you to go to our website and see videos of that happening. It really is kind of hard to get your head around 5.2 million pounds of concrete, Lori, but I'm sure you've used every bit of it. So, First Physicians Group Neurology Practice, we've added a new physician. Dr. David Stone joined First Physician Group's neurology practice in July to help provide a range of care to patients hospitalized with stroke and other neurological disorders. Dr. Stone earned a PhD in neuroscience prior to a medical degree from the University of Nebraska. He went on to complete a neurology residency and fellowship in vascular neurology at the University of Florida. He's American. He is a member of the American Academy of Neurology with more than 6 awards and grants for excellence in academic research and 2 Chairman's Awards from the University of Florida's for excellent patient care. His research focused on studies in ischemic stroke, Parkinson's disease, and immunology of the neurodegenerative diseases. So please welcome Dr. Stone when you see him. We also welcome palliative medical specialist Joshua Gross, who has also joined First Physicians Group Supportive Care Practice in July to provide palliative and supportive care to patients facing complicated medical problems related to prolonged illness or serious injury. Following medical school and an internal medicine residency, Dr. Gross went on to complete a fellowship in hospice and palliative care at the University of South Florida. Now, that third bullet point shows all the things that he has research focused on, which I'm not going to even try to get through that. So please welcome Dr. Gross when you see him. Our physical medicine and rehab physician, also joining First Physicians Group, Dr. Anthony Cavalli has joined First Physicians Group's physical medicine and rehab practice to care for patients recovering from a wide range of injuries and illnesses at Sarasota Memorial's Rehab Pavilion. Prior to his residency, Dr. Cavalli served active duty as a medical officer and flight surgeon with the United States Air Force for 3 years. He is a member of the American Academy of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation, the Florida Osteopathic Medical Association, and Military Officers Association of America. His research focuses on studies on complementary and alternative medicines for rehabilitation, carpal tunnel, musculoskeletal injection therapy, and ultrasound-guided minimally invasive procedures. So please welcome him as well. Now, I'm sure all the parents already know this, but kids are back in school now, and SMH likes to help get them there. So for more than 20 years, Sarasota Memorial has provided school supplies to local students in need through Mothers Helping Mothers. This year, staff, retirees, physicians, volunteers, families, and friends of hospital donated more than 150 backpacks, along with dozens of boxes of school supplies and gift cards. So we really appreciate the staff all coming together every year to do this. It means so much to these families. As we always do, we have a number of different seminars that go on that are open to the public. These are free lectures series, and we invite you to go to our website and take a look at the dates and which ones are happening. But we would also just invite you to also RSVP for that. It's free, but we just want to make sure we try to get a head count. So all on our website. And Mr. Chairman, that is my report. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions of David? All right, David, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Excellent report. Consent agenda, we don't have anything. Karen, any public comments? I do believe we actually have legal matters this
You
afternoon.
do, you
All
do.
right.
I am offering for the board's action a motion. I would ask that one of y'all enter a motion approving the reasonable travel expenses for Mr. Hudson, who's attending the Governance Institute Leadership Conference September 8th through 11th of this year, and for you, Mr. DiVirgilio, Ms. Wetzler-De Peters, Mr. Meister, Mr. Henry, and Ms. Reiner, who are attending the conference in January or February. Sorry, I don't have the date here. Pursuant to the board's policy regarding reasonable travel expenses.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, any questions? All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed, no? All righty, anything further?
That is it. Thank you.
Well, with that, we don't have any other business, so I'll adjourn the meeting for this month. Enjoy.